Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you everyone for your patience this evening. It's much appreciated. We do not have a student representative this evening because we have no students. It is the summer, so they are dearly missed. So, President's report, item number 6. I have a couple of things I'd like to read. For the second consecutive year, the Piscataway School District is ranked among the top 100 school districts in New Jersey by Niche.com. Niche, a company dedicated to comprehensive reports on schools and colleges, neighborhoods, towns, and companies, based its rankings on rigorous analysis of academic and student life data from the U.S. Department of Education, along with test scores, college data, and ratings collected from millions of Niche users. Piscataway's overall score was an A-, with particularly strong showings in the following categories: teachers, college prep, clubs and activities, diversity, and sports. This ranking follows on the heels of other recent awards for Piscataway, including being named the Best Community for Music Education by NAM Foundation, the National Association of Music Merchants, and named to College Board's AP Honor Roll for increasing access to advanced placement courses to a broader number of students while maintaining or improving the rate at which their AP students earn scores of 3 or higher on an AP exam. So we're really happy about that. Please, I apologize, but somehow, some way, I did not print it. So I'm reading very tiny from my notes. So, Investors Bank donates $10,000 to Piscataway High School. Thanks to Investors Bank for their generous $10,000 donation to VHS. Pat Brazazio, Assistant Vice President, Branch Manager for Investors Bank, brought the donation, part of a five-year, $50,000 grant awarded to Piscataway High School for upgrades to Piscataway High School weight room, including new equipment for both strength training and cardio training. All students will benefit from the weight room in general physical education classes during the school day, and also strength and conditioning for athletes after school. So we do want to give them a great big thank you because that is a significant donation. And we're really happy to have received that. The only other thing that I have for this evening is just we're ramping up for a new school year, and I know that you guys have been working very hard as far as working with the administration and very kind of detail-oriented meetings, 3 days, I believe, with the administration, which we're really grateful for because that puts time out of your schedule. I know there's a lot going on at that time. And then I also know that new teacher orientation is right around the corner. So there's, 3 or 4 days, I believe, that our new teachers, which I find really impressive that our district does greet our new teachers in that fashion, where they get a 4-day overview. They meet all administration, they meet other teachers, they meet students, they meet some board members, and they have significant training in what it's like in the culture of Piscataway. So I know that you have a lot on your plate as it is opening up schools, especially with all the construction going on. So I appreciate the work that the administration is doing, and we really are looking forward to a great school year, beginning of the school year. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we're
No, we can
jumping around the agenda. Speaking of the upcoming school year, I do have folders for each of you that I will deliver to you for Tuesday night's retreat. The board will be having its planning retreat Tuesday night. The president made an excellent suggestion, which is that we give to you in advance test scores, mobile data, other kinds of things so that you can review it. They actually are down in my office. I will make sure you all have it before we leave out. You can review that information this evening, but we will be meeting Tuesday night. At that time also, we will provide an update on facilities. As you said, there are a lot of projects that are going on this summer, and we look forward to that status report. The 18-19 school year is really in full swing. We have our professional development programs planned out for the coming year. Those are the days when we have schools closed for students, but it's open for staff, so that's also planned. Our leadership team meetings, which are monthly for all of our supervisors, that's all planned out.
Item number 8, Personnel and Labor Relations, Mr. Irwin.
Be it resolved that the following motions identified as items A through C be approved as presented.
As there is no comment or discussion on items related to personnel, Mr. Secretary, would you call the roll?
Dr. Connors?
Yes.
Mr. Irwin?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. Nazir?
Yes.
Dr. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Stern?
Vote yes, with the exception of item 8B.
Mrs. Lopez?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Item number 9, approval of the minutes, Dr. Nazir.
Be it resolved, the following minute be approved as submitted. Business meeting July 19, 2018. Executive session meeting July 19, 2018.
Second.
Are there any questions on either business meeting July 19, 2018 or executive session, July 19, 2018? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Be it resolved, the following minute be approved as submitted. Special meeting July 23rd, 2018. Executive session July 23rd, 2018.
Any questions or comments related to the special meeting July 23rd or the executive session July 23rd?
No, but I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item number 10, public comments from the floor. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and school matters of community interest. In support of this position, the law establishes a period of public comment at every board meeting. Individuals wishing to speak must state their name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes duration, but an individual may speak a second time after all others who wish to speak on the topic have been heard. The board may require that individuals register to speak prior to the beginning of the meeting. Participants may submit written material in support of their position. All statements and/or questions shall be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members individually. All speakers are requested to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others whose legal rights may be affected. Please note, while it is not the board's intention to stifle comment on matters of legitimate concern to the school community, the public should be aware that if their statements violate the rights of others under the law governing defamation or invasion of privacy, they may face personal liability to the injured party. If speakers are uncertain of the legal ramifications of their comments, the board urges them to seek guidance beforehand from their own legal advisor. Do we have any comments from the public at this time?
Hello again. My name is Bethia Capola Rios. I'm a resident of Piscataway. I live at 448 Whittier Avenue. We've lived there since 2002. And I have some concerns about the special ed system in Piscataway schools. I am a parent of a child who has special education in his middle school. And I've become concerned over the years. Of course, I have a preponderance of evidence, if you would like for me to give that at the end for the board to review. And I know that it's 3 minutes, so I just want to go over the basics if you have questions. Our experience with special education in Piscataway, the staff are not following the IEP. This has been an issue for several years. I have documented it. I have reported it every year. It's actually usually the same thing every year, but I'm reporting it, and I'm at the frustration point. They're not following the IEP. They're not exhibiting professional behavior. And they're also lowering the standards for my son academically. I would like to question to the board as a whole, I'd like to know if the district keeps a log, whether it's digital or written, of teacher access to the IEPs that each student has. Am I allowed to ask a question?
Well, I think the board's really here to listen to your concerns, and if you have a question, the administration can get back to you, I'm sure.
Okay, so I have to, so it's a yes or no, though, does that mean that they don't answer, or?
Ms. Rafferty can speak for herself. If she happens to know the answer to an administrative question, she's free to speak
Oh,
for herself. If
okay.
Ms.
Yeah,
Rafferty,
I just want to be respectful of the rules.
that's the rules.
Would you know if the district keeps a log of when the teachers access and read the IEPs? Mhm. Mhm. Right, but is there a log to make sure that they are looking at the IEPs? Okay, and I appreciate that. So here's my concerns. If you have a log, that's great, keeping track that yes, teachers are actually looking at the IEP. I'd like to see the log for my son. If you don't have a log for their access to the IEPs, I'd like to know how you hold them accountable, because these teachers are not following the IEP for my son. I have quite a timeline, and I only went back to summer of 2016. I know we're pressed for time. And I'll often CC'd Ms. Rafferty on the emails. Most commonly, repeating directions are not being done. Social skills group was not consistent. Chunking is not being done. That is a consistent complaint every year. Poor classroom management with Indy, and I have these concerns not just the special ed teacher in the classroom, but also the general ed teacher. It's poor management. I'm having to educate the special ed teacher on symptoms of ADHD and the commonality of the black and white thinking for kids with ADHD, how they think, how their brain works. I shouldn't have to be educating them, and I would never ever purposely insult them. I have actually, a few times in communicating with the child study team, I've actually removed the teacher from the email because I want to be respectful of the teacher. I don't want them to think I don't want to appear rude. But everything is documented. Again, IEP, updating the IEPs, they're saying they're chunking, they're not chunking. Punnett Square, I know that several of you have education in the sciences, and I want to just briefly say to you, I have a Punnett Square here, and my son received 100% on this Punnett Square, and I had a person who has a advanced degree in molecular cellular biology look at this thing. She didn't even look at it 10 seconds and said, he got 100 on this? It's all wrong. But I had asked for examples of how it was chunked, how the instructions were chunked, and the teacher, I said, I don't think he understands this. We're scrambling the night before to put it together. And she dismissed me and said, I'll go over with him, but don't worry, Mrs. Rios. He got 100%. And that's when I initiated a meeting. We had a meeting. It's insulting, and the vice principal was present. Again, I have evidence of this, and it has been confirmed with the vice principal. That was March. In June, a project for social studies, same exact special ed teacher. I'm asking again, can you please give me examples of how you chunked this? This is abysmal. The project he turned in was nowhere near what the level of 7th grade, what it should be. She blatantly lied in the meeting. When I approached the vice principal in private, he confirmed he had heard the exact same thing. And I don't know when it's ever appropriate to lie to a parent. I mean, it was a bold-faced lie. Yes, Mrs. Rios, I've seen his written notes. Well, that's funny because he doesn't have a written notebook for that class. My son is not being held to the same standard as other children. This is a huge concern for me because he must have the minimum mastery of material. A C is a C across the board, an A is an A across the board. Do not lower the standard just to shut me up so that I'll go away. I was actually told, nobody ever calls to complain that their kid got too high of a grade. And I said, well, I have high expectations. My child may not. Maybe he won't go to UConn. Maybe he won't go to Rutgers. He won't go to UMD. He won't go to Cornell or Temple. He won't go to St. Pete's. I don't know. He won't go to Kane. I don't know. But I certainly want him to have a choice. I don't want. What's happening, I think, is that they're advancing him through things he hasn't earned. So now you're undermining me as a parent because he thinks he's amazing.
Ms. Rios,
Mhm.
may I ask, have you had a meeting with Deirdre Ortiz, the Director of Pupil Services?
No, ma'am. So, again, everything is documented. I've addressed everything. And I sent an email July 12th about this. Mr. Gonzalez responded almost immediately. But I felt that it was more just to appease me because he's saying that he's going to ensure fidelity of the IEP. Well, what were you doing before? How are you holding these teachers accountable?
But I think, why don't we
I have emailed.
follow up and schedule something to address it sounds like a lot of the concerns are with the IEP, child study team,
Yes, ma'am. So I'm pointing out that I've CC'd you because you're the only one that from the outside of the board. I've CC'd her on these things. She's never acknowledged, ma'am, I think I've CC'd people that I couldn't even identify them.
because when I do get correspondence from parents,
Mm-hmm.
I always forward it to the person who's in the best position to address those issues. And in that situation, it sounds like we've gone to our Director of Pupil Services,
Right.
who oversees all the child study teams,
Right.
special ed teachers.
Here's the thing, and this is why I'm bringing it to the board. Why is it not enough that I've reported it every single year? And I have to say to them, please don't give me crappy teachers. Please don't give me burnt out teachers. I should not be following behind, checking. Is she telling the truth? Is she lying? Come on. Where's the quality in that? If one of my clients is asking me a question, I answer them with respect and honesty, and if I have done something wrong, if I've made a mistake, I admit it. And my God, I'm so sorry. Hey, I dropped the ball. This is consistent. Because I think that I wanted to come to the public forum because I think that if it's happening to my child, it's happening to other students. That's a problem. And again, to go back, you're lowering the standard for my child. That's violating his civil rights.
I will have somebody call on Monday. It's closed tomorrow. I apologize. But people who are in the best position to address this situation,
Yes, ma'am.
that we have related to your son's program.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that, and I'll absolutely take their call. I just want the board to know. If he wants to go to college, I want him to have the choice. I don't want you to pass him along. That's not fair. Was there anything you wanted to add?
I just want to make the point.
This is my husband.
Just wanted to make the point, I'm sure a lot of you are highly educated. I don't want my son to be maybe the brain surgeon that didn't get the right education. You don't want that brain surgeon. You don't want your brain surgeon that didn't get the right education. You want your next airline pilot that didn't get the right education. And then yes, pass them along. Yes, so all those pain in the butt parents are gonna come again and let's give them an A for a project that clearly somebody that doesn't know anything about science can see that it's completely wrong. And how do I break my son's heart to say this is not 100? This doesn't deserve 100. If the teachers is telling that, and I can clearly see that it's not 100, so are you just passing them along just to shut us up?
Well, I apologize that that's your perception. Clearly, that's
Well, but again, you've been CC'd on the emails. Um, Really, I don't know who wasn't included on the emails, because I was pretty thorough. And why is no one responding? Ms. Pongratz responded almost immediately. Mr. Gonzalez responded almost immediately. I'm not understanding, why does it have to get to this point? Like, why am I having to come to the board to get a phone call on Monday? Do you know what I'm saying? I've already done, I've taken the steps.
but I guess
No, ma'am. If I have to report it this many times, I don't think the problem is, and my concern is that it's systemic. That's what I'm saying to you. I think that the problem is not just my son's school, because it's happened in different grades. It's happened in different schools. Yes, even at Arbor School it happened, where a teacher had him stand up and shamed him in front of everyone. Everyone who didn't do their homework, stand up. And then she went one by one, 3 kids. And what's your excuse for not doing your homework? And what's your excuse? Didn't I just talk,
let's follow up.
But I really wanted to, I don't know how else to get anybody's attention. I'm emailing, I'm CCing everybody. And when I tell you, like, I go down the list. Really, it's just frustrating. So, thank you very much. I appreciate, and I do appreciate your attention. I know I ramble, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Are there any other
Would you like to have copies of the emails that we did send, or
To me?
to everybody?
Mr. Rubin, should I give you the?
Why don't you give them to me? We'll make sure they get to where they need to go. I think 1 copy will be fine. Thanks. 10 copies, whatever. Thank you.
And are there any other comments from the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to go back, if you'd all bear with us. Be resolved that the board adjourn to reconvene executive session for the purpose of review and discussion of the personnel agenda, litigation, HIV monthly report, and other matters pursuant to law NJSA 10-4-12B. And at the conclusion of the executive session, we will return to public session and action will be taken.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.